Meg Griffin has endured plenty of humiliations, but being replaced on her own family's reality show? That's next-level cruel. And it lands at number 10 on our list of the worst things to happen to her.
Good, old-fashioned, all-American fun!
After a failed attempt to embarrass her parents on TV, Meg's plan backfired when producers turned her family into a reality sensation. Overwhelmed by constant filming, she stormed off, only to be swapped out for someone more cooperative and banned from her own home. Fame came at a cost, and for Meg, it was her place in the family.
Look, Anthony, trust me, she ain't what she used to be, all right? Once you get those pants off, it's like 2 sagging pressed hams and a slice of pizza.
Oh, thank you, Peter. That makes me feel terrific.
10. Meg is replaced on her family's reality show. Season 14, Episode 15. Meg Griffin has faced many hardships, but being replaced on her own family's reality show is one of the most unforgettable and memorable. During a dinner outing, the constant presence of cameras pushed Meg to her limit, prompting her to demand the show be canceled. The producers' solution? They swapped her out with someone more compliant and sent her packing. Peter and Lois told her she couldn't live at home during filming, leaving her displaced for the sake of fleeting fame. It was a heartbreaking experience for an already vulnerable teen.
Today's guest is tired of being embarrassed by her family.
Meg, how did you get these tickets again?
Let's bring them up right now.
9. Lois steals Meg's boyfriend. Season 8, Episode 13. Meg has long struggled with self-esteem, which has led to challenges in her dating life. Often she's so eager for attention that she doesn't set high standards for her relationships, leaving her family to assume the worst about anyone she brings home. But when Meg introduced someone who seemed normal by their standards, the family couldn't help but make a big deal out of it. Lois, however, crossed a major line. Encouraged by compliments from Meg's boyfriend and Peter's rude remarks, she shockingly decided to act on her own interest in the young man. The situation escalated when Meg walked in on Lois kissing her boyfriend, leaving her betrayed and devastated. This left Meg grappling not only with the pain of her boyfriend's betrayal, but also with the heartbreaking realization that her own mother would undermine her relationships just to boost her own ego.
Hi, Anthony.
Hi, Mrs. Griffin.
You know, we've enjoyed having you around so much lately, so we got a little welcome to the family present for you.
Next on the list is 8. Meg acts as Peter's personal chauffeur. Season 5, Episode 9. After Peter lost his license, Meg kindly stepped up to drive him around until he could get it reinstated. True to form, Peter showed no gratitude, instead treating her poorly and complaining the entire time. He even forced her to shuttle him and his friends wherever they wanted to go. Things came to a head during one of these outings when Peter's friends set Meg's hat on fire and then doused it with beer. Frustrated and fed up, Meg finally snapped, taking her anger out on another driver by attacking him in the middle of the road.
Been dead for 6 hours. Some of them aren't too bad.
Oh, then Halle Berry.
God, will you guys just shut up back there?
7. Meg is assumed dead and kidnapped by Chris. Season 18, Episode 18. It is the bizarre incident where Meg was assumed to be dead, only to be kidnapped by Chris after ditching school on skip day. Meg came home one day to find the house completely empty. When she called Lois to ask what was going on, she was brushed off, with both Lois and Peter insisting that Meg was with them, leaving her confused and assuming someone was playing a cruel joke. Deciding to make the best of the situation, Meg spent her day at a bowling alley. There, a mix-up with IDs led to another girl being mistakenly identified as Meg after a tragic car accident. Realizing how little her family cared, Meg chose to embrace the situation, move away, and start fresh with a new identity. Meanwhile, Chris was soaking up the sympathy and attention from classmates mourning his dead sister. Loving his newfound popularity, Chris was reluctant to let go of his moment in the spotlight. So, when Meg called to reveal she was alive and wanted to come back, Chris took matters into his own hands by kidnapping her. Meg ultimately fought her way to escape and publicly revealed Chris's actions to their school. However, her efforts were in vain, as Chris managed to talk his way out of any consequences, leaving Meg once again dismissed and ignored.
Hello? Where is everyone? Damn it, Chris. I don't care that you're popular now. Let me out of here!
Coming in at number 6, Meg and Quagmire. Season 10, Episode 10. This storyline was particularly rough for Meg. She returned home expecting what was supposed to be a surprise party, only to find that no one had bothered to show up. Feeling deeply hurt and dejected, her spirits only lifted when Quagmire unexpectedly arrived, being the sole person to acknowledge her on her special day. As Meg turned 18, she became an easy target for Quagmire's advances. Determined to add her to his list of conquests, he was relentless, willing to wait however long it took to get his way.
One time, my friends and I went camping, and nobody could start a campfire. And then I tried to start the campfire, and I could.
That's insane!
At number 5, Meg is sold into slavery to settle Peter's debt. Season 4, Episode 8. Neil Goldman, who had always had an unsettling obsession with Meg, took things even further in 8 simple rules for buying my teenage daughter. After Peter mistakenly opened a tab at Mort's pharmacy, he ended up deeply in debt. Rather than finding another way out, Peter's solution was to offer Meg as a means of repayment. Though horrified by the idea, Meg reluctantly agreed, ending up in servitude not just to Neil, but to his entire family.
Thanks for babysitting, Meg. We'll be back in a couple of hours.
I don't understand why I have to babysit Stewie. I mean, what's he really gonna do if we leave him by himself?
At number 4, Meg's kidney is stolen on Valentine's Day. Season 11, Episode 12. While on a date that quickly went awry, Meg found herself in a terrifying situation that took a dark turn. Though Toby initially seemed kind, it was soon revealed that he worked as an organ harvester. Taking advantage of Meg's unsuspecting nature, he drugged her drink and stole her kidney. Surprisingly, he later returned it after developing feelings for her. But the whole experience was deeply unsettling and traumatic for Meg.
Oh my God! Toby, what happened?
Oh, I just harvested your kidney.
Taking the number 3, Meg is sexually assaulted by Trump. Season 17, Episode 11. The spot is the disturbing incident when Meg was sexually assaulted by Trump. After Peter got a job working for Trump, the family moved to Washington, D.C. During a party, Meg, riding high on newfound confidence from her makeover, was excited to meet the president. She didn't realize Trump was making advances on her until it was too late. In mere moments, her self-assurance and trust were shattered by someone who couldn't respect boundaries or consent.
Mr. President, please. I'm not interested. You'll regret this.
At number 2, Meg gets diabetes and loses her legs. Season 16, Episode 15. We have the time Meg got diabetes and lost her legs. When Corey from Corey's World promised to make anyone internet famous, Peter bet that he could do the same for Meg. Corey quickly declared her niche as Fridge Spot and had her trending on Twitter in no time. Meg embraced the fame, but it came at a cost. To keep up with her growing fan base, she resorted to unhealthy habits like eating raw bacon and drinking corn syrup. The result? Meg developed diabetes and, unable to stop for fear of losing her newfound fame, eventually lost her legs.
Refrigerator Meg here. If diabetes has you down, get your insulin levels up with Pancresta.
Finally, at number 1, Meg is kidnapped in a Paris. Season 10, Episode 20. It is the harrowing experience from the Lego My Migo episode. Meg agreed to go to Paris with Ruth, but the girls were targeted by a sex trafficking ring and kidnapped. Stewie and Brian raced to Paris to rescue her, but they arrived too late to prevent Meg from being auctioned. Meg endured a terrible ordeal in captivity, offering comfort to another girl, before being rescued by a prince who justified purchasing her as an act of charity. But her brief sense of relief was shattered when the prince was killed by Stewie, a tragic end to one of Meg's worst experiences. What do you think is the absolute worst thing that's ever happened to Meg Griffin? Was it the betrayal by her own mother? Or perhaps the time she was wrongfully presumed dead? Maybe it was the moment her own family sold her into slavery to pay off a debt. Meg has faced a lifetime of hardship, and it's hard to pick just one event that stands out as the worst. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Keep tuning in for more epic breakdowns, and don't forget to subscribe for all the latest content.